I was just thinking to myself how truly amazing it would be to really be able to do whatever you wanted in this world. Really, really accomplish your dreams and really be able to live the life you truly want. Not the life you're forced to live, but the life you truly wanted. And it's not just for certain people, it's for anybody who really wants it, right? That's what the normies say now, but we know that's not true. We know that life is very different for everybody. Life has different circumstances. It has different perceptions for different types of people because different types of people experience life differently because the world is filled with so much complex nuances. We live in a spiritual, organized prison, a prison that's designed to not only break your mind, but to make sure you lose hope in yourself and you lose that faith and that self determination that you need in order to succeed in this world. This world will purposely find ways to make sure that it keeps you down. And every time you rise up and get your head above the water, the ship just twists around and puts you back underwater. Then you got to find another breathing hole. You know, it's it's absolutely horrendous how the system is set up. How you have to literally be a serf in order to survive. What really has changed from the medieval times, besides the landscapes? Most people work within um, their home radius. You know, some people may have to drive to another city or another whatever, but most people, wherever their job is at, usually their home is nearby, right? It's not too far away, you know. But some people, they do have far jobs, but most people, it's pretty close by, right? So whoever you work for pretty much controls your life because you need the money and you need to make the money in a legal way. This is why the law punishes illegal activities of gaining money, right? But then you see the government blatantly breaking the law and getting away with it. So you see this two tier or triple tier or invisible tier or shadow tier system that's being implemented and integrated or been implemented and integrated into the system. You can't have purity when there's venom or poison inside the water as well, because it's not drinkable. So this wicked type of system is not sustainable long term. And we can see it crumbling now with the inflation, with how people are becoming more depressed. People are, not reading. Like I heard, like the young generation, like they don't really know how to read well. And I couldn't really believe it because it's like, back in my days, reading was very important. It was paramount, you know? And plus, as I got older, I got more interested in reading books. I got interested in seeing people's different writing styles and how they implemented them and how they integrated and created new stories. Like I love, love anything creative. I love anything that lets you express your soul, whether it's music, whether it's writing, whether it's anime, whether it's something that lets you just feel powerful, something that lets you feel like you're you're at a blissful peace, but also you feel powerful. That's why I love anime. I love anime because I love the animes where they go into another world and they become so great, they become so powerful, and in this other world they're able to, find themselves, be themselves. But in the world we're in, it's like there's so many containment chambers. There's so many things blocking you from being happy and being your true self and really just being genuine. A lot of people are fake. A lot of people are fake. So when they hear somebody that's real, it shocks them, you know. And to a normie and NPC, hearing somebody like me that just tells it how it is, it can scare them because they're like, oh my gosh, this person's being raw and unfiltered. We can't have that because if this person can say that, then he may wake other people up. So we gotta make it like he's crazy, like he's the bad guy. It's like I'm not the bad guy for telling the truth. If anybody comes against you for telling the truth, then that person's an agent of the demiurge. It's just that simple. If you're telling the truth and you know it's the truth, and you feel it in your soul, you feel it in your spirit that it's the truth, then that's yours. You hold on to that. If that's the truth that you hold, hey, that's your truth. That's what makes you you. That's what makes you unique. A lot of your beliefs also make you unique as well, right? When you have your own independent beliefs, that's different from certain religious infrastructures that are just controlled that's just some control to contain your mind and control you, so you can be obedient to a system that just want to extract resources from you, right? And that's another thing that's a problem in this world. Everything is a resource. Everything has a limited time, like a limited time period. There's only a limited times of breaths you're allowed before you finally go on. There's only so many times you can, even walk around and move before you get older and you start having hip surgery and stuff like that. And then now you're in a wheelchair or something like that. Like there's only so many times you can have good days, right? But it seems the good days are always outweighed by the bad days, you know? And I start to think about these beings and these entities. It's like they feel like they're so superior to us, but yet they rule over the flesh, and they rule over certain evil realms. And it's like they take their power as gods. Whatever these beings, whoever's controlling this, they think that being evil and being cruel and being wicked is how you utilize power when you have it. And that's not what power is supposed to be for. Real power from a real good king is supposed to go and be spread amongst the people as well. It's not supposed to just be held to one sovereign who decides everybody's fate on a whim. That's wickedness and that's evil. True divine light and true holiness is for the benefit of all. It's not for the benefit of one, you know? That's wickedness. And to have a God claim to be supreme when he knows that there's other beings higher than him, he knows there's a pleroma, and he knows what he's doing to the divine sparks by having people loosed, having people reincarnated, and having their minds and memories wiped. That's wicked. You can have there's probably entire lifetimes we've had that we'll never know. That's why when you see certain people, it feels like you know them. Like have you ever met somebody like that, or been around somebody like that? I feel like it's my first time meeting this person, but I feel like I know them from somewhere, right? It's like that's strange. So maybe in another lifetime we used to be close. Hell, maybe we had in another dimension we had an anime team with each other. Who knows? And then we passed away and got our mind wiped and sent to this dimension because the demiurge wants to loose us some more. Like you never know. Like we live in a very weird and strange world, man. And it gets me thinking a lot, man. Like, what's beyond this? What's beyond existence? Let's say we get to the pleroma. What's beyond that? Because I don't think the pleroma or the monad's even the highest God either. I think there's something even above that. And what's above that? What if the pleroma, the infinite light, is like just tears from a goddess? What if it's like a goddess crying somewhere in another dimension, and she's like in her palace and she's crying, and she's so powerful, her tears create the pleroma, and the pleroma is the monad, and it gave birth to all the aeons and all this. What if that can be a possibility? Maybe not, but I'm just thinking outside the box. I'm just throwing ideas out there and just seeing what makes kind of sense in a way. But I don't know. What if there's something beyond the pleroma? And then what's beyond that, beyond that, beyond that? Who's the realest and who's the truest God? And what is consciousness? Where does consciousness come from? Consciousness has to come from somewhere, but where? Like we know this consciousness, the ones that we have, it comes from Sophia and the pleroma. But beyond that, where does that come from? Like, where does the idea of the soul, the human spirit, where is that? Like, are we really divine spirits inside these flesh bodies? Because I feel like I'm supposed to be doing so much more. And I don't mean just in life. I mean like powers and capabilities. I believe we should have telepathy. We should be able to move objects with our mind. We should be able to teleport. We should be able to do magic, just like in the anime. I know I may sound crazy to some people, but I feel that way. I feel like humans, have been suppressed in some way. By some evil beings, they suppressed us. Like we're supposed to be godlike beings. That's why we're attracted to stuff like that. We're attracted to animes and people got superpowers. We're attracted to Marvel and stuff like that. Like we're attracted to stuff where it's like people are throwing thunder beams at each other and ice beams, and we like stuff like that. And what if we in the ancient times were actually capable of doing stuff like that, but through the domestication of humans throughout thousands of years and centuries and all the wars and all the battles and all that, and People have to convert to this, people have to do this, and so people kind of lost the ability to do that. In the ancient times, it did talk about when the gods used to roam the world, when they used to walk amongst men, and there would be giants and all types of monsters. This is back in the days you would have like giant snakes, giant spiders, all types of like dinosaur type creatures. It's like there's a history they tell us, and there's a history that they purposely leave out because they don't want people to know about it, because the world is a lot more stranger. Like history is a lot more stranger than what they uh, tell us. Like the Smithsonian has been known to find bones of giants and then hiding them and then saying that they've never had bones of giants. And there's so many discoveries that have happened that were just if it doesn't fit the social paradigm that's set by America's greatest ally who controls the world, since they control everything. If it doesn't fit within the paradigm that they utilize to control the human minds, then they just say that it's make believe or it's a myth. But I'll tell you this, they'll tell you that magic is fake. There's no such thing as magic. There's no such thing as demons, ghosts, and spirits. That's all fake and make believe. They'll tell you that and then go do secret satanic rituals in some secret place somewhere, and there's a bunch of billionaires and trillionaires, Elon Musk and other types of people there, and you're like, well, damn, these people are powerful and got all this wealth, and yet they're doing these quote unquote rituals that are not real, but yet these are the ones that control the world. Make it make sense. There has to be something with those rituals, because a lot of those rituals are ancient, going back to the days of the Druids and going out even before that, right? So we got to take in consideration that we live in a world that's very interesting, and it would be a lot better if we could do the things that we truly wanted. Like imagine being able to get that girl that you always wanted. She got the cute face, nice little body on her, you know, and you finally get her. You know, she wants to date you. She wants to be your girl, and you get that weird feeling inside your chest that you've never had before, right? Now, mind you, the demiurge is watching this because he's probably the one who's orchestrating this. So you finally get this girl, and you're happy. You go on a couple of dates. You may even hit it from the back and make that nanny smack. You know what I mean? Like, you may even do that, man. And then next thing you know, a couple of weeks later, one of your close friends, you walk in, you catch them together. You're like, wow. Like the demiurge would do stuff like that to guys like us. But then other guys, like the demiurge's favorites, he'll allow them to just win. He'll allow them to have all types of beautiful girls you can only imagine. But imagine a world where the demiurge won't interfere and you finally get that girl that you always wanted, man. How happy you would be. Imagine when you finally have the money that you always wanted. You have the money that you always could dream of. You're a multi-millionaire, man. You look in your savings account, you see millions. You look in your checkings account, you see millions. You got millions of dollars in assets. You got your business account, you got millions there. You got millions everywhere. You pay your taxes. Your taxes are in the millions. Like it's just millions, 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 man. You just living life, enjoying yourself. Have some of the most beautiful women, the most fastest cars, the biggest homes. I know a lot of us don't really want that, but if I could get that, I would definitely go for it. But I'd be happy with just like a small house somewhere in a ranch in the middle of nowhere with my like cows, chickens, my horses. Like I always want to have my own farm. You know, and I know it's hard raising livestock, but I'd rather I want to have my hunting dogs, my farm dogs. Have like different types of breeds of horses, cows, chickens. Just have like a farm. Like dang, what's his name? I can't think of his name right now, but I used to watch his YouTube channel all the time. And he has that ostrich. Is it an ostrich? It's like the ostrich that tries to always attack him. What's his name? And they call him Uncle Ben. I can't think of his channel's name. Dang it. But I know they call, I can't believe I'm having a brain fog right now. That's crazy. I can't think of his name. Urban Rescue Ranch. That's the channel. Yeah, Urban Rescue Ranch. I think that's the channel. Yeah, like how he had a farm. I remember he got it from the mud. I remember when he first bought that. Because at first he used to have like his farm like in his backyard, and he used to work a 9 to 5. Then he finally quit his 9 to 5 and went to do YouTube full time. And then he found like this abandoned like house. It was so messed up in the beginning, and then he turned that whole house and that whole back area into like a farm. Like a profitable farm, pretty much, and he's living out his dreams and doing his thing. And it's like stuff like that. Those are miracle stories I like to hear about, man. But it's like not everybody gets to live out their dreams like that, and that's sad. I guarantee a lot of us right now that are in these positions would be a lot more happier if we were doing something that we truly loved, we were truly passionate about, and something that we really put our heart and souls into. Because there's nothing worse than actually putting your heart and soul into something and trying your hardest, and then you still fail. That's the worst feeling. But also, the worst feeling is never trying as well. Like when you never try, you know, but there's reasons. And a lot of us have psychological reasons. We have psychological demons. We have things inside of us that help break down our confidence. And that's why we're in the positions that we're in now. You know, a lot of us, man, we really needed some type of emotional stabilization. And instead, we got emotional stagnation, which we never really developed into full. Like, I don't really think you can be a full grown adult if you like. I don't know. Like, how's this sound? Like, is this a normie? Is this a normie point of view? But but can you really look at yourself as a man when you don't own a home, you don't have a girl that loves you, and you never did, and it's worse if you're like a virgin. Like, how can you be like 25, 28, 33, 38, 41, and like if you're a virgin at that age, how can you really feel confident, right? How can you really feel like a man? Even if you have all your bills paid and all that, it's like that's something that breaks you down, right? But, and not really having the ability to afford a home, right? That sucks. Like, we'll never be that generation of men that can go and buy a 2-story house like it's nothing and have money saved over to go buy a summer house by the lake, like, and then buy a lake boat, like, it's like, like there's people that live that life, man. They're living it now. And then there's people in our position where it's like, $100 is a lot of money, and, to some people, they may not think that's a lot of money, but the people in our position, that's a lot, and people can laugh, let them laugh, because I notice, with the inflation, grocery prices are getting ridiculous. Gas prices are ridiculous. And people want to have a boiling point eventually. They're going to get sick of all this oppression. I don't know if you guys seen this, but dang it, what city was it in? But it's called a purge law. What city was it in? Oh my God! Just Google what I'm saying. All right, it's called the Purge Law. Like the movie The Purge. It's called a Purge Law. And when you type it in, the AI is going to say, "Oh, it's not official," but you got to look right under it, and it's going to show you like the city and the name of the law. I'm just having a brain fog right now for some reason, but it's going to show you that it's called a Purge Law. And this Purge Law means that people can pretty much do within 24 hours. People can do pretty much almost any crime that they want, and not really be charged for it, but give them like a ticket or something like that. Like, I'm serious, but like this is what I'm telling you. What's called predictive programming. They'll put stuff in the movies and stuff, and then they'll put it in real life, and then act like it's just a coincidence. Don't you know the same people that control Hollywood control the politicians and control the world? It's a new world order, and it's we already know, those shall not be named. You know what I mean? Point blank. You know their power. Their power and their reach is infinite. You know. They even. I'm gonna stop there. But yeah. It's scary out here, man. It gets scary in this world when you think about it. When you think that we don't even know what we really are. Isn't that kind of weird? Isn't that kind of interesting? It's kind of fascinating, but it is a little scary, isn't it? We don't even know like what we really are as humans. We don't really like people talk about God. Oh, I talked to God. No, you didn't. Have you heard his direct voice, talk to you? And if you did talk to the demiurge, so what? He's a wicked evil being anyway, you know? This God never comes in and helps. He never comes in from the sky and say, people, stop fighting and I'm gonna give you guys all blessings. He never comes from the sky and say, hey, stop this evilness and stop this evil and stop this wickedness. This God seen what was going on Epstein's Island, and he didn't send a thunderbolt. But when somebody touched his Ark of the Covenant, he instantaneously neutralized them. But when he sees children that are being abused, this God doesn't come to the rescue. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense for a being to be that evil, to have this power and be evil. It's like, why can there be peace, love, and tranquility? Why? Why can there just be peace? Why can there just be happiness? People laughing and people playing like a carnival almost. The carnival people are like having cotton candy and they're on the damn rides. They're using those little pellet arrow rifles and they're hitting their targets and winning their girlfriend a teddy bear. Like, why can't life be like that everywhere you go, where it's just happiness and everybody's having a good time? Why is there destruction, corruption, and all types of seductions? Why is there a life that it seems the prioritization of existence is the termination of happiness? It seems that it's meant for you to be in a depressed position because something is feeding off your negative energetic manifestational frequency, which is called douche. There's something that benefits from us being in this position. There's something that benefits from us, you know, not having the ability or having the power to do what we really want in life. And you got to think about it. Like, who benefits from this? Who benefits from us being in a defeated and downtrodden position? Who benefits from us not being powerful? Who benefits from us not even having the ability to be happy? Who benefits? But the demiurge. Why create a world where it's filled with pain and misery when you could have had the choice to create a world where everything is good and perfect? That shows you that there's something wrong with this being and it's not good. The turbulence and the turmoil we go through in life, there's a myriad of different events that happen to us, and each of these events plays a particular role in shaping our personalities, shaping our belief systems, and shaping even our mental capacities and capabilities. What you go through in this world shapes you, homie, and people act like that ain't real. A lot of us, we've been through devastating times in our lives. A lot of us, we've been through real shit, so that's why we don't we don't have time for the BS. We got real life problems to worry about. It's interesting how you have these different types of government systems. And so somebody was telling me, oh yeah, like someone was telling me, oh yeah, well, the government's. I'm like, yes, I know the government is compromised. You know what I mean? Yes, that's what I mean. Like, it's been like, that's the purpose of it. It's a front. The real power players don't show themselves. If you see the politician on TV, if you see him everywhere, that means he doesn't have the real power. The real power hides in the shadows because they don't want to be seen. They don't want to be figured out. They don't want nobody studying them or analyzing them. They don't even show their face. They don't, because they don't want nobody looking at them or looking up them or doing anything like that. They stay hidden because true power in these dimensions is hidden. You're not going to see Yaldabaoth. He's hidden in another dimension, Plus, if you see his true form, it will probably scare you, because his true form is that of a lion with a flying dragon serpent, so with thunderous lightning in his eyes, with abyssal fire coming out of his mouth, that's the God of your Bible, a dragon. I mean, that's the truth. Like a celestial Stalin, a celestial evil, wicked, sadistic shadow abyssal dragon, you know. Does it not say in the Bible how the Lord can breathe fire, from his mouth? And how the Lord has wings, Read if you want a description of the demiurge a bit, I think it's Ezekiel. Is it Ezekiel? Read the beginning of Ezekiel, if I'm not mistaken. And it talks about this being and how it looks like. And it talks about the firmament on its feet. Talks about like it's wheeled winged angels with all these eyes around it, and his throne, how his throne moves but never turns, and his wings on the throne. It talks about it, you know. And he has like a sapphire throne or something like that, like the demiurge. But you gotta understand the demiurge is a shapeshifter. It can shapeshift it to whatever it wants. You know, like a lot of these beings, they're shapeshifters. They're interdimensional things. I know some people sounds crazy what I'm saying, but trust me, I know what I'm talking about, man. You know, there's different dimensions and different realities than ours, and it has similarities to ours. There's different. I'm serious. Like NASA has been talking about this for years, you know, but they just haven't really just, you know, but they've been talking about it, like different realities, different dimensions, interdimensional portals. Like they were talking about the existence of these things. Like you hear ancient Native American stories that talk about this, going to the underworld, going to another dimension, going to different phases of existence, different plateaus and different realms. Terrence McKenna was talking about this a lot, you know, utilizing the mushroom and different types of psychological drugs. And I really believe that there's different planes of existence, and there's different types of beings, different types of people, different. I really believe it. I believe there's multiple dimensions, and each of these dimensions get loosed as well. But our loose in this dimension, because since we come from the pleroma and come from the Father Sophia, from the Gnostic text, according to the Gnostic text, our loose is more better in some way. So we go through a lot more hell than others in different dimensions, and there's probably dimensions where people go through worse than us. But those are probably like torment realms. Like this one's a torment realm, but it's tormented and it's calculated, meaning not everybody's suffering at the same time. Right now, as we suffer, there's somebody that's living a life of heaven and pleasure. Brutal but true.